All right, everybody, let's just jump right into it. Today, we are tackling the interview question that seems simple but could actually make or break your interview. Tell me about yourself.
Yeah, you've probably heard this one a million times, but how do you make a response that makes you shine?
Yeah, we've got expert advice, interview tips, real-world stories,
Wow.
all to help you nail this crucial moment.
It's fascinating because it's often the first thing an interviewer will ask you,
Oh, absolutely.
and it sets the tone for the entire conversation. And they are not looking for a chronological rundown of your resume. They
Uh-huh.
want to see how you communicate, how you present yourself, and whether you can connect your story to their needs.
I think that's a really great point.
Yeah,
It's more than just breaking the ice. It's a chance to make a really powerful first impression and demonstrate that you've thought about why you're there and what you bring to the table.
absolutely. And one expert we have here compares it to a movie trailer. A
Ooh,
concise and engaging preview that makes them want to see the whole film, or in this case, learn more about you as a candidate.
okay, I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So how do we create a trailer that captivates the interviewer and leaves them wanting more?
A lot of career coaches will recommend you structure your response like a three-part model.
Okay.
It's a simple but effective framework that ensures you hit all the key points without rambling. Think of it as present, past, future.
Present, past, future. I'm intrigued. Break it down for me.
All right, so the present is your opening statement. It's where you establish who you are professional right now.
Okay.
So, for example, you might say something like, I'm a data analyst with 5 years of experience in the healthcare industry, specializing in using data to improve patient outcomes.
Okay.
You're giving them a clear snapshot of your current expertise and what you're passionate about.
Gotcha. So that sets the stage. What about the past?
So this is where you briefly touch on your relevant experience and accomplishments. Don't just regurgitate your resume. Instead, pick one or two specific examples that demonstrate your skills and how you've added value in
Right.
previous roles.
So instead of saying, I managed a team of 5, I could say, I led a team that successfully implemented a new marketing strategy, resulting in a 20% increase in leads.
Exactly. You're quantifying your achievements and showcasing the impact.
Love it.
Now, the future part is where you connect your aspirations to this specific opportunity. Why are you interested in this particular role, and how does it align with your career goals?
So you might say something like, I'm excited about this opportunity because it would allow me to leverage my analytical skills in a new industry and contribute to a company that's making a real difference.
Yes.
It's about showing them that you've done your research and you're not just applying for any job that comes your way.
Precisely, it demonstrates your genuine interest and initiative.
Perfect.
Now, here's where it gets interesting. All of this needs to be delivered in a concise and engaging way.
Okay.
You want to aim for about 60 to 90 seconds, just long enough to pique their interest and leave them wanting to learn more.
Okay, that's a pretty tight time frame.
It is.
Do you have any tips on how to make every second count?
One technique I found really helpful is to think of your response as a story, not just a list of facts.
A story. You mean like once upon a time there was a data analyst?
Well, not quite like that.
Okay.
But the idea is to weave your experiences together in a way that's memorable and engaging. For example, you could start with a brief anecdote that illustrates your passion for your field.
Oh, great.
Or you could highlight a specific challenge you overcame that demonstrates your problem-solving skills.
So instead of just listing my technical skills, I could tell a short story about a time I used those skills to solve a real-world problem.
Yes, and that would definitely make you stand out from the crowd.
I like that a lot.
Now, here's another crucial point that is often overlooked: tailoring your story to each specific role. Remember, you're not just telling them about yourself.
Right.
You're telling them about yourself in relation to this job.
Right. It's about highlighting the parts of your experience and skills that are most relevant to what they're looking for.
Precisely. Take the time to carefully review the job description, research the company, and identify the key qualities of experiences they're seeking,
Yeah.
and then weave those elements into your story.
So it's like a custom tailored suit. You wouldn't wear the same outfit to a wedding and a job interview, right?
That's a great analogy.
You want to choose the look that's most appropriate for the occasion.
Yes. Now let's talk about a few other nuances that can really elevate your response.
Okay, so we talked about structure and tailoring our story, but what about those tricky situations like career gaps or switching industries?
Right.
How do we address those without sounding defensive or like we're trying to hide something?
That's a great question. It's important to remember that everyone's career path is unique, and interviewers understand that what they're really looking for is honesty, self-awareness, and a proactive approach.
So let's start with career gaps. It's something a lot of people worry about, but it doesn't have to be a deal breaker.
Absolutely not. The key is to address it head on briefly, explain the reason for the gap, and then emphasize what you learned or accomplished during that time.
So if I took some time off to care for a family member, I could say something like, I stepped away from my career for a while to focus on family responsibilities, and during that time I developed valuable skills in organization, time management, and communication.
Exactly.
It's about reframing it as a positive learning experience.
You're demonstrating resilience, adaptability, and a commitment to personal growth.
Yeah.
Now, switching industries can be a bit more challenging, but it's also becoming increasingly common as people explore different career paths.
So how do we convince an interviewer that our skills and experience are transferable, even if we're coming from a completely different field?
The key is to focus on the underlying skills and qualities that are valuable across industries. For example, communication, problem solving, leadership, and teamwork are essential in almost any role.
Okay. So if I'm transitioning from a teaching role to a marketing position, I could highlight my ability to communicate effectively, create engaging presentations, and manage projects. Those skills are relevant whether I'm in a classroom or a boardroom.
Exactly. You're showing them that you can adapt your skills to new contexts and that you're eager to learn and grow.
Okay, so what about those personal details that sometimes come up in this question?
Right.
How much should we share about our hobbies, interests, or volunteer work?
That's a tricky one. It's good to showcase a bit of your personality and what motivates you outside of work,
Okay.
but keep it brief and relevant to the role.
So if I'm applying for a creative design job, it might be worth mentioning my passion for photography or my involvement in a local art collective. It shows them I have a creative mind even outside of the office.
Precisely. You're adding a human dimension to your professional profile and giving them a glimpse of your passions.
But we want to avoid going overboard, right?
Mhm.
No one wants to hear our entire stamp collection or obsession with reality TV.
It's about finding that sweet spot between professional and personable.
So we've got the content down.
Yes.
Now let's talk about delivery. How can we make sure our, tell me about yourself, comes across as confident, authentic, and engaging?
Practice is essential. I always recommend rehearsing your response out loud, maybe even recording yourself, to see how you sound and identify any areas for improvement.
It's like rehearsing for a play. The more you practice, the smoother and more natural it'll feel.
Exactly, but here's the thing. You don't want to sound too rehearsed like you're reciting a memorized script.
Right.
You want to maintain a sense of authenticity and spontaneity.
So it's about finding that balance between preparation and staying present in the moment.
Absolutely, and here's a tip. When you're practicing, focus on the key points you want to convey, but don't get too hung up on the exact wording.
So it's like having a roadmap, but being open to taking detours along the way.
Exactly. Now let's talk about some specific vocal techniques that can help you project confidence and make a lasting impression.
Okay, I'm all ears. I know from experience that nerves can sometimes get the best of us in interviews, and they can definitely show up in our voice.
One of the most important things is to be mindful of your pace.
Okay.
When we're nervous, we tend to speak faster, which can make us sound flustered and less credible.
Right.
Take deliberate breaths and slow down, allowing your words to land with impact.
It's like pausing for applause, even if the applause is just in our heads.
Exactly. And speaking of pauses, use them strategically to emphasize key points or give yourself a moment to gather your thoughts.
Okay.
It shows that you're thoughtful and deliberate, not just rushing to get through the answer.
Right. It's all about finding that rhythm and flow.
Yes.
What else should we be aware of?
Those pesky filler words.
Yeah.
You know, the ums,
Yeah.
ups, and likes that creep into our speech when we're nervous or trying to think on the spot.
Oh, I'm definitely guilty of that. Any tips for breaking the filler word habit?
Practice replacing them with brief, silent pauses. It might feel a little awkward at first, but trust me, it makes a huge difference.
Okay, challenge accepted. What about tone of voice?
Are you conveying energy and enthusiasm with your voice?
Okay.
Vary your tone to avoid sounding monotone or robotic. Imagine you're having an engaging conversation with a friend. That's the kind of energy you want to bring to the interview.
So it's about being professional, but also letting our personality shine through.
Exactly.
We want to sound like ourselves, not like we're reading from a teleprompter.
Exactly. And here's another tip that might sound counterintuitive: smile.
Oh.
Even though they can't see you, a genuine smile can actually be heard in your voice.
Wow, I never thought about that.
It makes sense, though.
Yeah.
When we smile, we naturally sound more friendly and approachable.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Now let's talk about a few other subtle but powerful nonverbal cues that can make a big difference in how you come across.
Okay, bring it on. I'm ready to learn all the secrets to acing this interview.
One thing that's often overlooked is posture. Even though you're not in the same room as the interviewer, sitting up straight and maintaining good posture can actually affect the way you sound.
Really? How does that work?
When you sit up straight, you're literally opening up your chest and diaphragm,
Yeah.
which allows you to breathe more deeply and project your voice more effectively.
So slouching equals a weaker voice. Got it.
Hmm.
What else should we be mindful of?
Eye contact.
Oh.
Yes, I know it sounds strange since they can't see you, but looking directly at the camera or at your computer screen can actually help you connect with the interviewer on a deeper level.
It's like we're making eye contact through the digital portal.
Exactly. It shows that you're engaged, attentive, and confident. And finally, don't underestimate the power of hand gestures. Even though they can't see your hands, using natural gestures can actually help you express yourself more clearly and dynamically.
So it's like we're painting a picture with our words and our body language, even if they can only hear us.
Precisely. Now, remember, the tell me about yourself question is just the beginning of the interview. You want to carry this confidence and energy throughout the entire conversation.
Right. We want to make a lasting impression that goes beyond that first question. So what are some other key things to keep in mind as we navigate the rest of the interview?
One thing that's often overlooked is the importance of active listening.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Tell me more about active listening in the context of an interview.
It's not just about hearing the words the interviewer is saying.
Yeah.
It's about truly understanding their message, asking clarifying questions, and demonstrating that you're fully present and engaged in the conversation.
So it's like a dance, a back and forth exchange of ideas and information.
Exactly. And it's a skill that can be developed with practice. Pay attention to the interviewer's tone of voice, body language, and the questions they're asking.
And don't be afraid to ask for clarification if something isn't clear.
Right.
It shows that you're paying attention and that you're eager to learn more.
Precisely. Now let's talk about another crucial aspect of the interview, asking thoughtful questions.
It's a chance for us to show we've done our homework and are genuinely interested in the role in the company.
It's also an opportunity to gather information and make sure this is the right fit for, you remember, an interview is a two-way street.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what kinds of questions should we be asking?
So avoid questions that can be easily answered with a quick Google search.
Okay.
Instead, focus on questions that demonstrate your understanding of the company's challenges and opportunities,
Okay.
or that delve deeper into the role's responsibilities and growth potential.
For example, I might ask something like, what are some of the biggest challenges the team is currently facing? Or what opportunities are there for professional development and advancement within this role?
Exactly. Those are questions that show you're thinking beyond the immediate job description and that you're interested in the long term.
Absolutely. Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground today.
Mm.
Is there anything else you'd like to add as we wrap up this deep dive into the tell me about yourself question?
Yeah, remember, interviewing is a skill that can be developed with practice.
Yeah.
The more you prepare, the more confident you'll become.
And even if you stumble or feel nervous, don't let it throw you off. Take a deep breath, regroup, and keep going.
Absolutely. Everyone gets nervous in interviews. The key is to not let those nerves control you.
So to recap, when tackling the tell me about yourself question, think of it as a concise and engaging story that highlights your relevant skills, experiences, and aspirations. Tailor your response to each specific role, practice your delivery, and most importantly, be yourself.
And don't forget, the interview process is an opportunity for you to learn more about the company and make sure it's the right fit for you. Ask thoughtful questions, listen attentively, and trust your instincts.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the art of answering. Tell me about yourself. We hope you found it helpful and insightful. Now go out there and rock those interviews.